I knew Stan mainly on the railways. He was famous even on the job for his art. There were quite a number of people on the railways that were interested in nature. And Stan and some of his friends, like, they'd wander out at the Grampians and just wander around the bush. They'd get off and they'd just head straight out into the bush, looking for various eucalypts.
I remember he used to talk on how he went to get these specimens when he was driving the train. He'd drive going along and the train would be slowing down and he'd hop off the train and let the fireman take over while he went in the bush looking for flowers, and then he'd hop back on the train, but he'd get on to his destination on time. Yeah, that was a story that went around quite a lot. My husband even was one of those persons on the fireman that had to do a bit for him. They were expecting it most times, I think, especially in the springtime.
It wasn't until I joined the Field Naturalists that I really got to know Stan, and I started art classes with Stan because he wanted to teach us how to paint wildflowers and orchids in watercolour. If you were painting something, you really counted how many petals there was to everything, and with the leaves you would count whether they're opposite, and the formation of everything that you were attempting to do.
He taught us a lot actually, and mainly I think was the colours and how to look at something, what to look for. And thinking now, it just takes you back in time. I can see myself sitting there with Stan and him telling us, you know, what to do and how to do it, and you're learning all the time with painting. It's not only learning painting, but you're learning to look at other things.
They look that real. He paid that much attention to detail. It shows, doesn't it?
I'm Stan Kelly's youngest granddaughter, and I used to visit him in Ararat for many, many years. The first thing we'd do is we'd go into the lounge room, and if Pa wasn't there, of course he'd be in his bedroom painting, and we just naturally assumed that's what all grandpas did. It never occurred to me until later on that people knew him beyond Ararat. I just had absolutely no knowledge. Like, I was fortunate enough to go to the launch in Canberra for the N-Series passport, and the passport features botanical illustrations that are from my grandfather. I was lucky enough to speak to the graphic designer, and he said, well, if it's got to do with, you know, flora, anything botanical, Stan Kelly's the one. I had a friend of mine who'd just been studying at horticultural college, and I was sort of saying, oh yes, and we'll go back to Pa's place and we'll see what he's up to. He's pretty pleased because he's just been named Ararat Citizen of the Year. You know, Stan Kelly Citizen of the Year. And my friend, who of course had been studying, he just went, you know Stan Kelly? And I went, well, of course I know Stan Kelly, that's my grandpa. And here's my friend just going, I can't believe I'm in Stan Kelly's house. And I didn't quite understand what he was talking about, but he explained to me that their reference book was volume 1 and 2 of the Eucalypts. And so Stan Kelly was a god to him and the other students. So the fact that this girl he'd gone to school with all his life, I was sort of so much more impressive to him after that, because of course my grandpa was a great Stan Kelly.